Welcome back to the Deep Dive. This is the place where we take a huge stack of sources, articles, and research, and we pull out the strategic nuggets you need to be, well, immediately well-informed. Today, we are wading deep into the world of AI in human resources. And here's the immediate hook for you. For years, when you heard AI in HR, it basically meant one thing: reading employee emails or surveys to see how people were feeling, basic sentiment analysis. Well, that whole approach is quickly becoming obsolete. It's almost a distraction from the real value. So our mission today is to unpack why that emotion-focused tech often falls short. We're calling it the sentiment analysis trap, and then show you what strategic, comprehensive AI automation really delivers.
And that shift is, it's not theoretical anymore. It's happening right now. While those basic sentiment tools are still common, the data shows that 50% of organizations worldwide have already integrated AI-powered HR platforms for, real workforce management.
So the focus isn't on detecting sadness anymore.
Not at all. It's about intelligently automating entire operational processes. The real transformation isn't better emotion detection. It's a fundamental reimagining of HR, and it's predicted to grow by, 35% annually through 2025?
Wow.
We're moving from just measuring feelings after the fact to proactively optimizing the entire employee experience with data.
Okay, let's unpack that. Sentiment analysis. Seems like a quick win for engagement, right? Who doesn't want to know how their people feel?
Yeah.
But our sources all point to its reactive nature as the core flaw. By the time a tool flags a problem, the issue is often already a crisis.
Exactly. It's like having a thermometer that only tells you the water is boiling after the kettle is already screaming.
Ah, right.
We actually found a quote from an HR director that just summed it up perfectly. She said, "We spend so much time trying to figure out how employees feel that we forget to focus on what they actually need."
If you're spending all your time measuring the temperature, you're not fixing the thermostat. Yeah, that analogy really sticks.
And these limitations, they create some really deep blind spots. One of the main pitfalls is that context disappears in language processing.
What do you mean by that?
Well, the software is just incredibly easy to fool. Take this actual example we found. An employee wrote, "Great, another system upgrade during our busiest quarter."
Okay, clearly sarcastic.
Clearly. But the system flagged it as positive because it saw the word great. The nuance, the sarcasm, it's just completely lost.
So HR is celebrating a win when they should be addressing potential burnout.
Precisely. And then you run into these major ethical issues. Another huge limitation is that privacy concerns undermine trust.
Right, the big brother feeling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When employees feel that AI is monitoring their chats or emails, it just breeds suspicion. It feels like surveillance, which is the opposite of the trust you're trying to build.
Yeah.
And then there's cultural and linguistic bias. A lot of these models are trained on, very specific Western English-speaking demographics.
So they're going to misinterpret feedback from a diverse global team.
They struggle immensely. And it's not just an inaccuracy. It can actively marginalize the voices of certain groups. It creates these profound blind spots for leadership.
So relying on this tool doesn't just give you a partial answer. It could give you a deeply biased one.
That's right. And strategically, it just falls short. It's reactive, not predictive. While you're busy measuring feelings that already exist, you're missing the chance to do predictive workforce planning.
And what's the fifth pitfall?
It just has limited strategic value. Emotion tracking gives you very little actionable intelligence for the big things executives actually care about, like, reducing cost per hire or boosting internal mobility.
And I have to assume there's a big financial cost to staying in this trap. How much are we talking about?
A huge amount. Companies stuck on reactive sentiment analysis miss all those early warning signs that could prevent costly turnover.
Okay.
The numbers are pretty stark. Organizations that use comprehensive predictive HR analytics report 35% lower turnover rates. That's the dollar value right there. The value of shifting from feelings to foresight.
That completely changes the question then. It's no longer how do employees feel?
Exactly.
It's how can we optimize the entire employee experience with intelligent automation?
And that is the question that drives real ROI. We're seeing these comprehensive AI platforms deliver a measurable return in just 3 to 6 months.
3 to 6 months?
Yeah, which is incredibly fast compared to, the 12 to 18 months you often see with pure sentiment tools that don't actually automate anything.
So if the payoff is faster and the impact is deeper, what does a modern AI HR platform actually need to do? What are these strategic functions?
Well, the first major pillar is predictive workforce planning and analytics. And this isn't just a fancy name. It means analyzing historical data to forecast retention risks 90 days before an employee even starts looking for another job.
Wait, 90 days? How in the world does the AI do that? That sounds like reading minds.
Huh. Not quite magic. It's all about correlation. The AI connects these seemingly unrelated data points, like maybe a decreased login frequency to a learning system or consistently skipping optional meetings.
I see.
It correlates those behaviors with historical data on employees who left, and it creates an early warning sign so a manager can actually step in and help.
So you're moving from detection to prevention for the whole organization.
Exactly. The next critical function is intelligent internal mobility and skills matching. The system automatically maps an employee's skills to potential career paths inside the company.
That's huge.
It is. This has been shown to reduce external hiring costs by 40% and improve retention by 25%, just because people can see a future where they are.
You're building your talent pipeline from within, but with AI helping you see the connections.
Precisely. Third is bias-free performance management systems. AI can provide these objective guardrails, making sure standardized criteria are used in reviews.
So it's checking our human instincts and biases.
Right. And sources show this can reduce review bias by 25 to 50%, a huge margin. Fourth is compliance and risk monitoring automation. This is all the high-risk manual work.
Like I-9s and certifications.
I-9 processing, E-Verify integration, certification tracking, audit trail generation. It turns a manual liability into an automated, reliable process.
And the last one.
And finally, employee self-service automation and AI chatbots. Handling all those routine questions like, how do I change my direct deposit? This frees up HR for strategic work and gets employees answers in minutes, not hours or days.
This level of integration, it goes way beyond a simple checklist. So let's look at the mechanics. How does this workflow intelligence actually work?
Yeah, what's fascinating is the power of advanced workflow intelligence. At its core, you can think of it as executing these complex actions using simple if-then logic.
Okay, so give us an if-then scenario.
Sure, here's a simple one. If an employee completes their exit interview, then the system automatically sends a PDF copy to legal and triggers the offboarding workflow, deactivating their badge at midnight.
No missteps, no dropped balls.
None. Or, if an employee's salary is updated, then the system automatically notifies payroll. It eliminates those critical handoff errors that cause so many headaches.
And for compliance, you mentioned something called chained task automation.
Yes, this is crucial in industries like healthcare, where credential stacking is mandatory.
What exactly is credential stacking?
It just means you have to get your certifications in a specific order. So the system ensures an employee can't complete step 2, like a knowledge test, before they've completed step 1, like HIPAA training. Everything is done in the correct, auditable order.
Okay, we talk a lot about desk workers, but what about frontline staff? In retail or manufacturing or construction, people who might not have a corporate email.
This is a huge focus. These platforms have to prioritize frontline worker accessibility. And that means, first, a mobile-first design, a real native app, not just a clunky website.
And log in if they don't have a work email.
That's where phone-based authentication comes in. Employees can log in securely with their phone number via SMS. It's simple. And for communication, there's digital signage integration.
So putting announcements on screens in the break room.
Exactly. On screens in break rooms or on the manufacturing floor. And for industries like retail, with seasonal hiring, you have bulk operations, letting you process up to 100 new hires at once.
Let's apply this to a specific industry. In healthcare, I imagine the focus is intense on compliance.
Absolutely. We're talking about those credential stacking workflows, automated renewal reminders sent 90, 60, and 30 days before a license expires, and integrated I-9 and E-Verify. It just removes the manual gaps that cause massive fines.
And what about manufacturing and construction?
There, safety is everything. So you see integrations with systems like Procore.
For our listeners, what's Procore?
It's a huge project management software in construction. Integrating with it means employee data like safety certifications is automatically exported. More importantly, the system can ensure compliance is verified before a worker is granted access to a site. If your safety cert is expired, the system locks you out.
The measurable results are what really drive this, I assume. What are companies actually achieving?
The results are pretty dramatic. We looked at a mid-sized manufacturing company. They reduced turnover by 35% in just 18 months.
Wow.
By automating the 30, 60, 90-day check-ins for new hires and using predictive scheduling to prevent burnout. The AI flagged a risk, and the workflow forced a manager to intervene.
So it's not just flagging that someone is unhappy, it's forcing the organization to act on it.
Exactly. And on the compliance side, a large healthcare network went from 12 violations one year to 0 the next, just by automating credential tracking.
The efficiency numbers must be big, too.
Staggering. Onboarding time cut by 58%, from 6 weeks down to 2.5, and audit prep time cut by 80%, from 40 hours of work down to just 8. But when you adopt systems this powerful, you absolutely have to have a clear ethical framework.
Right. You need governance to make sure the efficiency doesn't kill the trust we talked about earlier.
You have to start with transparency over surveillance. Employees need to know exactly how their data is being used, period. The second piece is insisting on a human in the loop. Automation should inform and recommend, but it should never, ever replace human judgment for critical decisions like terminations.
And what about the bias issue?
Well, the potential is there for AI to reduce bias in reviews by 50% by 2025, but that's not a passive thing. It requires constant auditing of the algorithms and making sure your training data is actually diverse.
So the distinction is crystal clear. The sentiment analysis trap is reactive problem detection.
Right.
But comprehensive automation is predictive workforce planning. It's about fixing the underlying operating system of HR.
And by 2025, our sources suggest 60% of organizations will adopt these kinds of responsible AI frameworks, making this the new gold standard.
So to just boil it all down for a final takeaway.
It's this. Traditional sentiment analysis tells you how employees feel, which is reactive and limited. Comprehensive HR automation actually improves the employee experience through intelligent processes.
And that improvement, that's what people really want. They don't just want to be heard. They want efficient onboarding, fair evaluations, and clear career paths. That's what this automation actually delivers. Organizations that are still relying on manual processes and reactive tools, they just face a huge competitive disadvantage. So here's the final thought for you to chew on. Given the projected $2.9 trillion in potential economic value from workplace AI automation by 2030, how quickly can your organization afford not to move from just tracking feelings to automating fundamental functions?